All right, three-way hip mobility stretch. I'm gonna break these bad boys up into 3 different stretches so you can understand them better, and also some different positions so or different angles so you're able to understand what I'm doing. First one is the hip opener position. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get, in this case, my right leg where my foot is forward and both my hands on the inside. So I don't have my hand like this. That is not wrong. That is not the stretch we're doing right now. So right now, my left leg is back as far as I'm able to carry it or bring it. My right leg, foot is straight, and my knee is outside a little bit. You will notice that if your knee is straight up, you don't have very much room to move. So by allowing my knee to slowly kind of push out a little bit, not only do I feel the stretch in my butt and in my hip, but it allows me to sit here comfortably. From this position, what I'm able to do is kind of walk out a little bit. That allows my hips to lower down more. Or for the more flexible people, you can start to try to drop both your elbows or one elbow on the ground. What we want to make sure we do is if we drop down, we don't completely just turn like this. We need to keep the torque and the rotation within the hips so we continue to feel the stretch. So from the front angle, I'm just going to rotate myself a little bit. It would look something like this. You realize that my knee is not completely straight. It is open and both my hands are down in the middle and my leg is as far back, if you can see it here, as I'm able to hold. And I'm not crunched in this position. I've got a nice smooth, long line. I'll try to get some pictures up top for you guys to understand it, but this would be stretch number 1, modifying by either walking out or dropping down on the elbows. All right, so now going into stretch number 2, you will notice that I'm still in the first hip open position. What we're going to do now is, because my right leg is in front, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to grab my left leg. Now it's a bit tricky here because if you've been doing the hip opener position for the first stretch for a few minutes, you might have really increased and opened up your mobility. So now the second stretch is going to be a bit more difficult because you're stretched already here at the hip. And now with my opposite hand, I'm going to stretch at the knee. So if you find that this is not possible, what you can do is you just can kind of bring yourself back to a not so lengthened first position. However, when we have the stretch, what we want to do is we really want to grab that foot. Again, I'll have some pictures posted around here so you see exactly what I'm doing. And we want to really focus on dropping or pushing our hips, if you will, towards the ground. When you do that, you will feel the stretch right into the adductor and the hip flexor right here, if you're able to see it on the camera. And what you're also able to do is turn yourself outside and really kind of pull the foot heel towards the butt, because what that will do is that will start to stretch the outside of your rectus femoris, which is one of the bigger muscles that causes quite a bit of trouble in our hips. So we're able to kind of focus on both of them. So again, this one's a bit difficult. If you're not able to start with this one right away, that's not a problem. Number 3 out of the 3-way hip stretches will also be a quad hip stretch that everybody's at least able to start in one way or another. All right, stretch number 3 in the 3-way hip stretch. This one is fantastic because it's great for everyone. So complete beginners to very advanced people with great hip mobility. I'm going to go through the modifications of how it can be good for the beginners and great for the people that are not beginners. First, the part that is a bit advanced is trying to get the knee completely against the wall. If that is not possible, that's not a problem. You can easily bring it out. You're going to notice that if your foot mobility is a bit poor, that this is also going to hurt. That's fantastic because this is a type of foot or ankle mobility you need. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and bring my knee against the wall because I am able to. The part that is not allowed to change is where your heel is. Your heel needs to be in line with your butt. So that means as I come into this stretch, you're going to notice that my heel becomes a bit hard to see because it is in line with my butt. If it was not, you would notice that it comes out to the side, and then we're losing the torque in the stretch and we're putting a knee in a bit of an awkward position. So that is not allowed to be modified. So if your knee is out here, your foot still needs to track behind your butt. If your knee is against the wall, same thing. From here, I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to step in a good position. So that means I don't want to be in a broken position like this. We don't want to fix one leg as we break the other, as we like to say. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold this stretch just like this. It's going to kind of look like that first hip opener stretch that we did. And I'm going to kind of push my hips forward like we did in the second stretch where we are stretching our quad. From here, when I kind of feel this open up, I'm going to change positions a little bit. I'm going to rotate my hips, kind of trying to find different areas. You can maybe even notice I start playing with my ankle a little bit to try to make sure it's exactly where I want it to be. And then once I feel that that tissue is relaxed a little bit, I'm going to work on coming up. I like to use a bench or a chair or a foam roll or something like that to kind of balance and stabilize myself. And then from here, as I come up, you notice if I move the roll, you will notice that my heel is in line with my hip. If it was not, it would look like this, and you would notice that the torque or the feeling of the stretch goes away a little bit. So again, I've got the roll helping me for balance. I've got definitely a bit of an uncomfortable position. You can hear it in my voice, but I'm still able to keep my diaphragm breathing relaxed, calm, and feel the stretch. And from here, I'm really able to kind of change different angles and positions and see where I feel the stretch, keeping my breathing pattern going. And then when I am done, I can slowly relax out of it. Again, not wanting to stand up and just walk away from it. And when I'm ready, switch to the other side.